You ever play a game where the world fights back? Where storms rule in mid-hunt, and monsters team up to ruin your plan? That's Monster Hunter Wilds. It's fast, it's brutal, and it's unforgettable. If you're ready to stop memorizing maps and start reacting like a real hunter, buckle up. Monster Hunter Wilds isn't just a new entry in the series, it feels like a full-blown evolution. From the first steps into the Forbidden Lands, it was clear this game was pushing boundaries. It wasn't just about slaying monsters anymore, it was about surviving in a world that feels reactive, hostile, and alive in every sense. Every moment felt like it could shift from calm to chaos in a blink. And for once, the world didn't feel like a backdrop, it felt like a main character. The world feels enormous. It stretches out like a true open-world environment, not just a collection of zones stitched together. There are entire biomes that act like living ecosystems, constantly evolving based on player actions and in-game conditions. One time, I tracked a monster across the Scarlet Forest only to find the entire area transformed after a storm had passed through. Trees knocked over, animals displaced, new dangers everywhere. And that kind of dynamic terrain isn't just for show. It changes how you approach every hunt. What was once a reliable escape route might now be a mudslide waiting to trap you. You can't memorize the world anymore, you have to adapt to it. The weather is a force of nature, not just a background detail. Sandstorms roar through the desert with a fury that can bury sightlines and split squads. Lightning storms crash down with force so intense they alter how certain monsters behave. I watched a Sertonif walk headfirst into a lightning surge and come out enraged and supercharged. That wasn't a cutscene, that was just the game reacting to its own world. You don't fight monsters anymore, you fight the world alongside them. And it doesn't stop with one creature. Chatacabra, this massive amphibious beast, stumbled into a flock of aerial predators, and before I could even prep my trap, the air exploded into a full-blown turf war. These encounters feel organic, like the world is happening with or without you, and you're just another moving part inside it. These aren't one-offs. These emergent interactions make the world feel more alive than anything I've experienced in the series so far. You start asking yourself, what happens if I lead a fire monster into a flooded zone? Can I use the terrain against them the same way they use it against me? The regions themselves each tell a different story. Scarlet Forest is teeming with vivid color and danger behind every vine. Oilwell Basin is a flammable nightmare that changes everything when the heat rises. And somewhere beyond that, mountains and frozen peaks call you into even more dangerous zones. It's not just about different biomes anymore, it's about survival tactics. Gear up for the cold. Adjust your loadout for heat. Adapt or fail. In one hunt, after several successful captures of a certain predator in the valley below, I returned to find the region completely overrun by its rival species. What was once a calm hunting ground had become hostile territory. And just when you think you've mastered one region, a migration event might reroute a deadly predator into your safe zone, turning a familiar area into a death trap. The world breathes, it remembers where you've been and changes because of it. What really sells it though is Secret. This isn't just a mount, it's your partner in crime. It lets you reload, heal, and switch weapons while riding, which changes everything about pacing in a fight. There were entire battles where I never stopped moving. I was weaving through terrain, pulling off clutch dodges, and returning fire without ever setting foot on the ground. Secret even saved my life more than once, dragging me out of a knockdown just as a monster went in for the kill. And in some missions, where traversal becomes part of the challenge, navigating narrow cliff paths during a storm or outrunning a herd of stampeding beasts, Secret isn't just helpful. It's essential, it's one of the best new additions to the series, hands down. Then there's Focus Mode, and man, it's a game changer. Instead of wildly swinging and hoping for the best, you can now zero in on weak points and trigger high damage strikes with precision. It made every weapon feel deadlier and more personal. There's a rhythm to it. You're not just brawling anymore. You're hunting with intent. It turns combat into a thinking game. You watch, you learn, you strike. And when a focused strike lands on a creature's glowing weak spot and knocks it into a stagger, that's a chef's kiss moment every time. Combine that with terrain manipulation, collapsing walls, vine traps, geysers, and the fight becomes a living puzzle. Hunts feel more cinematic without sacrificing player control. You're carving your own story through skill, not cutscenes. Whether it's dropping a boulder onto a wyvern with a perfectly placed slinger shot or chaining together focused strikes on a vulnerable underbelly, every moment has weight. Monsters now show visible wounds as the fight goes on. Limps, broken horns, blood trails, it adds urgency, it adds realism. Sometimes they'll even flee to heal or call for backup. The fight doesn't follow your script, it follows its own. Capcom also brought back turf wars, but now they feel like a natural extension of both focus mode and the emergent monster behavior systems. These territorial clashes erupt without warning, injecting chaos into what might have been a carefully planned ambush. You'll be lining up your focus strikes, only to have to rival monsters barrel into each other and reset the entire battlefield. I once watched a Chatacabra get ambushed mid-fight, and instead of finishing it off, I had to retreat and regroup while chaos unfolded. These moments don't just add spectacle, they deepen strategy. You learn to watch for monster migrations and prepare for when worlds collide. The multiplayer component doesn't just support crossplay. It elevates the entire experience, PC, PS5, Xbox all since. The co-op play is smooth and responsive, and the community feels more alive than ever. No janky matchmaking or weird party limits. You drop in, sync up, and get to work. There's a built-in ping system now, letting you mark weak points, signal danger, or guide teammates without needing voice chat. You start to recognize other players not by voice, but by how they fight. That's real multiplayer chemistry. Working with a full squad isn't just fun, it's critical. Environmental threats can wipe you out faster than a monster can. In one mission, a lightning storm cut off our escape route mid-hunt, forcing us to improvise a new path while still managing to corral our target. It was chaos, and it was brilliant. One teammate used a flare to signal the safe zone, another dropped a slinger trap to stall the monster. Those moments are why I keep coming back. Because every hunt is a story waiting to happen. There's no cross-save yet, which is a shame, especially for folks juggling platforms, but the crossplay, absolute win. It's seamless and it builds community around shared experience, which is what this kind of game thrives on. I've met players from different systems, different countries, and somehow through hunts, gestures, and strategy we all speak the same language. The game creates camaraderie through chaos. Azuz is a land of contrast and conflict. The Black Flame, a towering beast that mixes oil with flame, is one of the scariest boss encounters I've faced in recent memory. It sets the battlefield on fire literally. Step wrong and the whole zone goes up in smoke. Pair that with sudden weather shifts and you've got a boss arena that fights you as much as the creature does. The fight isn't just mechanical, it's theatrical. You're dodging blasts, hiding in smoke, luring the monster into oil traps, and praying lightning doesn't strike while you're soaked. It's a fight that becomes legend. The narrative, while simple on paper, pulls you in with atmosphere and mystery. The tale of Naru, the boy whose village was destroyed by the White Wraith, gives a human anchor to the high-stakes world. Tracking that creature, watching how its legend unfolds across the land, how it affects even the monsters you hunted, all feeds into the immersion. And there are journal entries, carvings, and ruins scattered around that hint at an older conflict, one that's still casting shadows today. The world story doesn't beg for your attention, it rewards those who seek it. Monster behaviors adapt over time. If you overhunt a specific species, their numbers dwindle. Other monsters move into their territory. The balance shifts, and suddenly you're no longer top of the food chain. You feel like you're part of an ecosystem, not just playing in one, and that ecosystem has memory. Come back to a region later, and you might find a wounded monster you let escape, now stronger, mere, and gunning for revenge. You shape the world, and it shapes you back. Beyond the main hunts, there's a ton of side content. Exploration-focused quests, lore-driven discoveries, environmental puzzles, hidden zones, and even world-building collectibles. Compared to previous Monster Hunter titles, which often leaned heavily on repeating familiar hunting loops, Wilds offers a more diverse and meaningful range of distractions. The game rewards curiosity, it rewards attention. Every corner you check might reveal a new strategy, a shortcut, or a clue about something ancient. There are also survival challenges, time-based boss gauntlets, and optional community contracts that rotate weekly. These features add a sense of progression and purpose even when you're not actively tracking a target. There's always something to do, always something new to chase. Even when you're not hunting, you're still discovering. And then there's the sheer joy of movement. Traversing cliffs, gliding across windy ridges, using the secret to vault through terrain that would have taken ages on foot, it never gets old. The game lets you cover ground fast, but always tempts you to stop and look around. That's when you find secrets. That's when you see the smaller stories Capcom has sprinkled throughout. Like a family of lesser monsters gathered around a tree, or an old weapon buried in stone, waiting to be discovered. You're not just moving, you're exploring. Crafting has also taken a meaningful step forward. Rather than feeling like a chore, it's now a loop of discovery and experimentation. Ingredients react to environments, creating new outcomes. Finding the right combo in a specific biome could mean the difference between a simple potion and a powerful, situational buff. And it feels earned. You want to go back into the wild, gather rare materials, and tweak your loadout again. It's addicting. There's even a new forge mechanic where you can combine monster parts in ways that unlock experimental weapon traits. Not all of them work, but when they do, it's incredible. You don't just craft gear anymore, you craft tactics. NPC interactions and settlements are more involved this time. Villagers react to your accomplishments, shops unlock based on your progression, and there are personal stories hidden in casual conversations. It's subtle world building, but it works. You start feeling like you're not just a visitor in this land, but a vital part of it. You'll recognize faces, hear whispers about your latest hunt. And when they cheer your name at the forge or warn you of new threats, it hits different. It feels like coming home. And while many Monster Hunter games can feel like systems piled on top of each other, Wilds feels cohesive, it's connected. Every mechanic feeds into another, every exploration path leads to potential danger or reward, and every decision you make echoes through your experience. It's the kind of design that respects players and gives them room to grow. And more than that, it trusts you. There's no endless tutorial spam. You learn by doing and failing and rising again. This is a game that teaches through challenge and rewards through mastery, and the emotional payoff is real. When you finally topple a beast that once crushed you, or survive a hunt by the skin of your teeth because your strategy clicked, you don't just feel like you beat the game. You feel like you became something more within it, and that's rare. Monster Hunter Wilds doesn't just build on what came before, it transforms it. It challenges you to think like a hunter, to act like a survivor, and to engage with a world that doesn't wait for you to catch up. It's a story of adapting, of overcoming, of carving your legend in a place that remembers what you did. So when I say this is the best Monster Hunter game to date, it's not because it's the biggest or the loudest. It's because it's the most alive, and in a genre full of scripted loops and predictable AI, that's what makes it unforgettable. It earns every roar, every scar, every triumph. And if you haven't played it yet, get ready. Because this world doesn't wait.